Hello and welcome to my rules explanation slash playthrough of Bezier Games' Suburbia, a classic, I would say, of not too long games. The app is solid. It's one of my favorite ports. The game is also one of my favorite games in person. It's easy to teach. It's quick to play. Well, yeah, kind of on both of those. It's not the most complicated game in the world, and you can, with the right people, you could play a 4-player game in less than an hour, which it's nice to have that option. This is actually going to be the first of Allspox games that I will be doing one of these four, one of rules explanation and playthrough. I'll also be doing a Castles of Mad King Ludwig rules explanation and playthrough. The app for that is quite good as well. It's interesting. Usually people have a preference of either Suburbia or Mad King Ludwig or Castles of Ludwig. And people who have those preferences are usually quite strong about it. What's funny, a friend of mine on BGG a couple days ago did this list with a bunch of polls, and one of the polls was, which one do you prefer? And it was almost 50-50, people preferring castles or people preferring Suburbia, which I thought was impressive and wrong. I feel like more people should be preferring Suburbia, but that could just be me. Well, just me and 50% of the people who responded to that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. After this, we'll take a look at the campaign mode, which I feel is one of the strongest features of the app. You can play online. Again, as with most of these things, I don't play it online. I don't have the patience. I don't care that much to play against real people. So we're going to look at the local play option. Now, there are these expansions that you can unlock. We'll go ahead and give a little tapsy-2 on them, and you'll see they can be unlocked by winning the single-player campaign SM levels, which I have not done yet, clearly. And then the GameCon bonus tiles, I feel like those also are part of the campaign. Here I am. I'm the default player. We are going to not do this for the computer turns. So this is where I'm a little bit unsure. See if there's a way I can change the color order. There's not. This is dumb. I like to play yellow. I'll play orange if I can. I'll play yellow otherwise. Because I have this preference I'm used to. If something is yellow, it's mine. It doesn't matter so much in this game or in any game that's not in person, I guess. So for this game, I will be playing red, which is going to feel very strange for me. But that's just so I can go first, so I can explain what's going on before we actually delve into the game. But no, if we were to play in person, I would be playing yellow. Keep that in mind. Unless you really want. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And we'll go ahead and play against Ted, who usually beats me. Well, I've played this once, not in the campaign mode, and Ted beat me. And we'll play against Gage, because I beat Gage last time, and that's fine. Okay, and we will go ahead and start down here. So this is what your Suburbia screen is going to look like. Down here, let's see, let's minimize this so we can take a little look here. This is where you'll be building your suburb. There are different sort of genres of hexes that you'll be putting in your suburb in order to increase your population, which is this little meeple shape up here. This is your population track. How many people live in your suburb right now? So as of right now, our population is 2. It's probably just me and my friend. We're just living here in this suburb, caring for the suburbs and the community park and working in the heavy factory. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Over here you see our reputation. Reputation is always going to be denoted with the square. And you can see it's even got like a little QB that we use to move. These are little squares. Reputation tells you how many new people your suburb will attract each turn. So right now, we're at a reputation of 1, and that is because of our community park. So if we tap on our community park and hold it, look at our community park. We can zoom in. We see down here, we will get +1 reputation for each adjacent, I'm going to say industrial, residential, and commercial hex. And green are like government hexes. So we are getting +1 reputation for this hex and +1 reputation for this hex. Now, Rachel, why aren't we at 2 reputation then? Why, that's a fine question. Because of this guy down here. Because of the heavy factory, we will lose a reputation for each adjacent governmental hex and residential hex. So we lose a reputation because the heavy factory is adjacent to the community park. So that puts us at a 1 reputation. Now, that is the... Whoa. Come back. Come back. What happened? Okay. That is the base setup every time of every game of Suburbia. This is how it'll be set up. You will start with 1 population or reputation. You'll start with 2 population. And we'll start at 0 income. Income is denoted by a circle. You can see it's this little circular tab. And we got these little circle guys up here. And they are represented by circles on the hexes. So the community park is going to lose us an income. It costs us an income each turn to upkeep it, basically. The heavy factory produces an income every turn. So +1, -1 puts us at 0. We're at a wash when it comes to income. Now we do start with $15 in cash, which is nice. Now, still looking at these pieces, you can see, based on the color, you know what type it is, what genre it is. This tells you what effect it'll give you, if any. Like, our suburb doesn't give us any effects based on adjacency or anything like that. It'll tell you how it'll affect your income or your reputation. Or, in this case, it just straight up gives you 2 people. That's how we have these 2 guys here. It just straight up gave us 2 dudes. And then this is the cost of the tile itself. $3, $4, $3. Now, at any point in the game, you can purchase. It is really hard to unzoom on this. Ugh, I zoom too much. This is a great interface. It sounds sarcastic. I don't mean it to. I did mean that too, but I don't mean it to sound malicious. Yes. So at any point, if we click up here, we're going to see what new tiles are currently available to place in our suburb. And we can tap on it and see, like, the parking lot would cost us 12 money. We would get an income right off the bat, and we would get an additional income for each adjacent government or office commercial building. We have the fancy restaurant, which gives us 3 income, but we lose one of those income for all restaurants built after this one. And that restaurants will say restaurant in their title. We have a landfill. And the landfill gives us 2 income, but we lose a reputation for each adjacent tile, basically. Nobody wants to be next to a landfill. Now you'll notice these 2 have a +0 at the top of them. So their base price is their price. Whereas these, what'll happen is at the beginning of the turn, all of these will slide to the right. So the tiles will gradually get cheaper the longer that they're out here. And then a new tile will come down from here, plunk here, and then keep moving down. That's how the game moves. So this landfill would not cost us 4. It would actually cost us 6 + 2. So keep that in mind. Now, on your turn, you have one of 4 options that you can do. You can buy a tile from up here for its value and place it adjacent to an existing hex in your suburb. You can't like start over here. That's option 1. Option 2 is you can flip this tile. So if we flip it, it becomes a lake. And lakes are pretty magical. Lakes will give you $2 for each adjacent whatever. And they don't cost you anything. You're basically flooding part of your suburb. So if you were to place a lake here, let's say, you would get $2, $4, and then in the future, any hex that you built adjacent to that lake would also get you $2. So that's a good way to get income if maybe your income up here isn't the strongest and you're kind of running low on money. So it's the second option. You can either play a tile for its face value, play a tile for its lake value, or as a lake. You can discard one of these tiles, paying the cost up here. And the same is true. If I wanted to take the landfill as a lake, I would need to pay $2 for it. I wouldn't have to pay the $4, but I would have to pay the price up here. So you'd probably want to lake one of these two. But I could discard one of these two and buy one of these usual buildings, a heavy factory, a community park, or a suburb, which you'll notice are the 3 that you start with. And this will tell you how many are left in the game. So in our game, we have 4 community parks left, 3 heavy factories, or 4 heavy factories and 4 suburbs. And they, you can place them in your suburb, and they're cheap. They're cheaper than the rest of these are going to be. So that's 3 out of the 4 options what we can do so far. Face value, lake value, one of these starter tiles, or this little 2-timer. You pay the cost of a hex that's already in your suburb. You can double it down here, and what that'll do is it'll duplicate the effects of that card, or that tile. So if we were to play it on the community park, we would lose another income, but we would gain another reputation for each adjacent industrial, residential, or commercial hex. So there might be a benefit to that. Doing either of these 2 actions will necessitate discarding a card from up here, or discarding a tile from up here. So be aware of that. There is there are 3 sort of phases, I guess, to the game. And this will tell you how many cards there are in each phase still. The tiles will get more expensive as we move along, and they'll become more powerful as well. So A will have just 11 more, B will have 18. C, we could go through all 23, but depending on the player count, at some point in the bottom third or quarter of the stack of these tiles is a tile that says 1 more round. When that one more round tile is exposed, everyone, so depending on if I was first player, if it was me, player B, and player C, you continue until everyone has had an even number of turns, and then you have an additional round. So if I go first, and we take our turns, doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa, and then I get the 1 more round following this round, we would finish the current round. So I would finish my turn, B would finish their turn, C would finish their turn, and then we'd all get an additional turn. If player C reveals the 1 more round tile, after they finish their turn, we all just get 1 more, because C is the last player. Hopefully that makes sense. So down here, you can see the where everybody stands. We all start in the same position. How much money everybody has, where everybody's income is, how many population they have, and what their reputation is. And down here are public goals. Let's take a little peek-see-poo at these guys. These will score at the end of the game. So environmentalist, whoever has the fewest industrial tiles will get 15 points, 15 population. Whoever has the fewest green tiles, residential tiles, will get 20 points. And whoever has the most contiguous government buildings will get 15 points. Now those are ones that we are all aware of and we're all working towards. And everybody also gets their own private goal that they work towards. So our private goal is the most blue buildings, and we'll get 20 points or 10 points. Let me see. Come here. Come here, you. How many points are you with? 10? Yeah, you're with 10. This is hard to read. Yeah, 10 points. Okay. So, keep in mind those goals because they can swing the game a little bit. One more thing. On the reputation track, you see this 15 up here? It's telling you that once we get to 15, I wish there was a way I could expand it. We're going to get a bar. Whenever, or a line, whenever your population crosses that line, you're going to go back one step in reputation and back one step in income. And we'll cover that more when we get to it. It's a way to sort of keep you from just getting out of control. There is a hard limit of 15 on income and reputation. If you would at some point get more than 15 reputation, you just stop. You can't just keep getting up and up and up and up until you get like 30. It's crazy. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. We know that our secret goal tells us that we need to have the most blue guys, and we like the idea of going for this most contiguous gray guys as well, but the gray one's way over here. So I like Waterfront Realty. Okay, let's take a minute and look at what these do. So the parking lot gives you +1 for each adjacent governmental and commercial, which isn't bad. Fancy restaurant we talked about, landfill we talked about. Waterfront Realty is kind of my thing. It gives you an extra $2 per side of a lake that there's a building on. I'm going to get that one because, like I said, it's kind of my thing. So it's going to cost me $6 plus 4. It's going to cost me 10 of my $15, which is starting me out a little rough, but it's okay because we'll just build a lake next time. Now, I don't necessarily want to be adjacent to the community park because if I put this, remember, if I put this adjacent to the community park, it's going to raise my reputation up 1 because the community park, you get 1 reputation for each adjacent commercial building. And I'm not in that big of a rush reputation wise. Now, one thing I like about the app is it's going to tell you how things are going to be affected up here on these tracks. In person, obviously, you have to do all this math in your head. So we could either put it there, or we could put it down here, which I kind of like that because I want to keep as much space for contiguous government buildings as possible. Now, it is entirely possible that this will be the decision that ruins this game for me. Okay, so I go, now they go, they get the fancy restaurant. And I want to keep an eye on how many blue hexes everybody's buying because I want to make sure I have more than everybody else. So, now it comes to me and this mint is here. And the mint gives you 3 income and gives you +2 for each of your government buildings. The problem with the mint is it costs $15, which is not something that I can afford right now, seeing as how I have $5. So I'm going to go ahead, and I don't want anybody else to have that mint because of this most contiguous government bonus. So I'm going to turn the mint into a lake, and I'm going to put it here. You see, that's going to give me $12 because I get $2 for each adjacent tile, 2, 4, 6, and the Waterfront Realty gives me an additional $2 for each additional size, 8, 10, 12, each additional side. Bloop. And at the end of the turn, we get our income, which is 0, and our reputation, which is 1. So that's why we have 4 people. We can see down here, we can sort of keep an eye on what everybody's doing. Be real nosy, like. So they got the airport. The airport's pretty cool. We didn't look at the airport. We got the parking lot. We're going to end up getting this other Waterfront Realty, apparently, because it's kind of fallen into our lap. And like I said, they're kind of my jam. Before we do that, let's take a look at these cards. The these tiles just so you have an idea of what can come up. So the slaughterhouse is going to hit you in the reputation. Nobody wants to be around a slaughterhouse, but it's going to give you an income for every restaurant you have. It could be fun. We're familiar with waterfront realty. The business supply store, which sounds like a money laundering facility, will give you +1 for every office tile. And office tiles are denoted with this little suitcase. Now, office tiles can be commercial locations or they can be governmental locations. So that's a fun tile. The Homeowners Association will give you one person right now, and they'll give you $2 for every green tile. Now what that means is, and this is true for the business supply store and the slaughterhouse as well, this is for everybody's suburb, not just yours. So for every green residential tile in everybody's tableau, you will get $2. That's pretty cool. The fast food restaurant will give you +3 people for each adjacent green hex, and it'll give you 1 income. Here you see the symbol for the restaurant, and you can see it on here too. That tells you that those affect each other. The mobile home community is cheap, gives you 6 people, and we have another homeowners association. The problem with the homeowners association, I like the idea of the homeowners association, but we have this goal down here, which is fewest green buildings. I don't see a lot of people going I don't see anybody really going like whole hog for that. So let's just go ahead and get the waterfront realty because we know we're going to do that. We'll get some money off of it. We'll get our 1 population. All right, so our new building is another parking lot. They made a lake, little dee. I think this turn we're going to go ahead and get a community park. So they all need money, and we've been kind of working up our money. So we want one of these community parks because we want to make sure that we are getting our adjacent this one, our adjacent government building, most contiguous government buildings bonus. So we will pull this one down here. We'll put it there. And now you see we're going to lose an income because of this -1. So we'll actually, at the end of each turn, we'll have to pay a coin. We'll work on fixing that, but I'm not too worried about it now because we have a ton of money. And it is going to give us an additional reputation, which we can't fight forever. We do get 6 money for that anyway. And we have to get rid of one of these, like I said, whenever we do one of these actions or this action. So I want to get rid of this fast food restaurant because I don't like the idea of those blue, oh, I wanted that one. Those blue buildings being really appealing to the other players. Cool, cool. Nobody's really getting, oh, black is. When it's black's turn, we'll look at their reputation. And you'll be able to see that line I was talking about at the 15. We don't want any of these 3. We could do a parking lot. I think we're going to do a parking lot. Let's take a look at what these do first. The farm takes away reputation, but it's going to give you +1 for every restaurant in play. That's pretty cool. The airports are fun. The municipal airport will give you +1 income for every airport. Remember, that's across everybody's suburb, but you lose a reputation for being adjacent to where people live, of course. And then there'll be better airports as the game goes on. And then we have the housing projects, which are -2 reputation for each adjacent one of these types, but you get 10 people. It's a nice little influx of points there. I think what we're going to go ahead and do, though, is we're going to put a parking lot here, because the parking lot gives us +1 income for each adjacent government and commercial. We got those guys here in spades. So that'll put us at 2, because we'll get +3 income and we're at -1. So it'll put us at 2, which is nice. And we'll get some money. Now, remember, we get 6 money, right? But we are spending, in order to place this, we are spending 16. So we're only going to be gaining 8 money. We should... Oh, that's with our income. Yeah, okay. So, that's okay. We are doing all right, I would say. So now, you see this line here. Once we calculate how many people we get, we go over the line, which means we have to move back 1 step on the reputation and back 1 step on the income. There are tiles that'll help you mitigate that, but it is just kind of the way the game works. Okay, I'm not too keen to get any of these. I wouldn't mind getting another lake, though. So, let's put a lake... Take this far. Oh, let's look at what these other ones are. The power station gives you 1 income for each of your yellow buildings. Again, we're fighting for fewest of those, so I don't see that really being a thing. The elementary school gives you +1 person for each of your green buildings. And the stadium gives you +2 reputation for each adjacent residential area, which is, again, pretty cool, but not the most practical here. Let's go ahead and turn the farm into a lake. We'll put it there. We'll get some money. We're close to crossing that line. Next turn we will cross it. We'll address that when we get there. So you see that now their line, it's showing them that their next line is going to be when they get to 22. So you can kind of plan for when you're going to be going back on those 2 tracks. It's a little easier to visualize in the tabletop game. Okay, so you can see it here now. This prominent line here. It's going to kick us back to 2 reputation and 1 income. So we need to think about what we want to do. We have a lot of money. I mean, we could get the stadium. We could put the stadium over here. And it will give us 2 reputation and an income. So we'll be kind of... I think we'll be okay there. And we could put another lake over here. So we're going to spend 20 money on that. And then we're going to get 2 money. And then we're going to get 3 money because we're going to get +1 income on this. This is telling us how it's going to end up at the end of the turn. We're going to end up with 5 people. 5 more people. So we're going to be hurrying up to those lines. So see, we're going to cross this, and we see the next one's at 22. We've gone down. They have both of the airports. Interesting. They're not going for fewest yellow buildings. Neither are they. So we have fewest yellow. Now, if there's a tie, nobody wins the tie. There's a building that lets you win ties for the goals. I haven't seen it yet. It's called the law office. Let's look at the warehouse. The warehouse gives you +2 income for each adjacent commercial building, which would be nice, I do believe. The gas station, +1 person for each adjacent suburb. No. -1 reputation for each adjacent commercial building. Nah. The retirement village just gives you 5 people. The shipping center, $2 for every blue. Now that's, again, everybody's blue between all of you. Oh boy, what do I want? I only have 13 money. I want that shipping center when it comes up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this elementary school and make it into a lake and put it over here. That'll give me some money. Now, it is going to make me cross the line. Plop, plop. But that's okay. Yeah. We look down here, we see that we're all pretty pretty equal. I mean, their income is phenomenal. They're making 9 money. They're making 13 money every turn. It's ridiculous. Don't think too hard about comparing yourself to what the other players are doing, though, because their synergy is going to be different from your synergy. The way that your stuff works together is going to be different. Like, I make a lot of my money off of lakes, which makes me sound like a terrible person. So I don't need to have a high income value like they do in order to sustain myself. So don't get too wrapped up comparing yourself to other people and the other players in this game. Okay, so power station we talked about, warehouse we talked about, casino is new. The casino, you lose 3 reputation, but each time you pass a line, you get an income. So basically, your income isn't going to go down anymore whenever you cross those lines, which is pretty cool. But it's not what I want. I want the shipping center. Because then every time anybody plays a blue tile, I'll get $2. Again, my income strategy is not the income strategy of the dots. So we're going to go ahead and put the shipping center over here. And the reason we're putting it over here is it's adjacent to a lake, so we'll get money for that. We'll get $6 for that. It's adjacent to this parking lot, so we'll get +1 income for that. That's pretty much it. I mean, I feel like those are good enough reasons. I don't really have to explain further. We're not going to cross the line this turn. We're going to butt up right against it. So he's going to cross the line, though. All right. This is going to do. That guy got the casino, which is fair. Okay, so skyscraper. We haven't talked about the skyscraper. It's +3 income, but for any skyscraper built after this current one, you would lose 1 of the income. It's like the fancy restaurant. With it being a one-of-a-kind draw, it's more appealing. Now let's take a look at scores. 25 to 32 to 13. I'm okay. I don't feel that I'm going to need to be in a rush to make a lot of money, to make a lot of people. So my instinct here is to get another community. Well, hold on. I know that I have the fewest yellow, the fewest industrial buildings. We can just look at it here. I only have 1 yellow building. I have the most gray buildings. And me and yellow both only have 1 suburb. Now, my goal, remember, is to have the most blue buildings. And I do have the most blue buildings. So, what I want to do, I don't really need to further either of those. To make sure I keep that lead. I hope that they buy another green, because then I'll just sweep all of these awards, which would be pretty great. I don't care about the elementary school. Okay, let's close that down. I guess I could get this community park. That'll boost me up a lot on the reputation, though, if I put it right there. But if I put it over there, that's what I'm going to do. I'll put it over there. Boop. It gives me some money. And then I can get rid of one of these. I'll get rid of the gas station. Ooh, I want that museum. Okay, so we'll let everybody else take their turn. Not like we won't let them take their turn, because I can't stop them from taking their turn. But after they take their turn, we'll go ahead and figure out what we'll do next. And we're in the C's right now, which means the game is going to be over soon. Like I said, this isn't a very fast game. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of time. So yeah, we're in the C's. At any point now, that last turn is going to come up. We're definitely going to cross a line. You can see we're like butted up right against it here. And like I said earlier, I want that museum. Let's see. So the museum gives you a reputation and gives you a reputation for each adjacent government building. So if I were to chuck it here, that would be 3 reputation that it would get me. The movie theater gives you an income for each adjacent suburb, which we're not worried about, or each adjacent residential. And the hotel, again, gives you a person for all other boroughs' residential areas, but there's just not that much of them. Ooh, look. But they bought one. That's beautiful. Good. We're golden. We're golden for all of these then. Okay. Given that, let's go ahead and cement it with the museum. You know what? We'll cement it with the museum down here and get some more money too. We don't want to go too crazy with reputation. We can always put another gray one here to get the same effect from the museum. Recycling plant. I don't know what this person's doing. I don't have very many points at all. Okay, so the recycling plant gives you +2 for each adjacent yellow. That's not a thing we're concerned about. The chip fabrication plant gives you +1 income for each of your blues, which is what I have. But remember, I want fewest yellow. Oh, but they all have 3. So I could get the chip fabrication plant and just shoot my income right up through space. That could be pretty cool. Space income. It's way up there though. I'm going to leave that. I don't want to try that yet. What I want to do is... Oh yeah, I can't put one adjacent to that. I guess I could. It'll just cancel. The skyscraper. We will buy the skyscraper. Put it over here. It'll give us 3 income and the money because it's adjacent to a lake. Hopefully that chip fabrication plant will come up again. Will still be available for us when it's our turn. Nope. That's okay. I didn't want it that badly. So we have a high school, which is different from the elementary school. It's +3 for each of your residential areas. The boutique is +1 reputation for each residential area. And then this is just another high school. So between these, there's not really anything I super need. Is there anything I'm in danger? No. There's nothing I'm in danger of losing. So, I guess part of me wants to make another lake, but that's just because that's my MO. The high schools don't help anything for me. Okay, well, we'll just make a lake. And we'll put it down here. Come on. I guess I could have put it up there. It's okay. Oh, it's middle school. So some other examples of these types of goal tiles would be most lakes, fewest lakes. You'll have the most and the fewest of all of the different types. So most and fewest, most of this, fewest of this, most of this, fewest of this. Most airports, You can see sometimes most money at the end of the game, least money at the end of the game, lowest reputation at the end of the game, lowest income at the end of the game. Different things that are pretty neat. Most of these, or fewest of these used, they're pretty neat to change how you play each time. This particular match that I'm playing right now is pretty well suited to my usual style of play. With just the fewest of these, the most of this. Now, even though this guy's got 62 points and I've got 40 points, I'm still not that worried about it because I'm getting all these. But getting more points would not actually be the worst thing in the world. Okay, let's take a look at what new came out. The middle school, +2 for each of your green tiles, and the resort is +1 for every green tile in the game, of which there are 7. So that one will give me 7 people plus an income. That one would give me 2 people plus reputation. That one, the high school would give me 3 people plus reputation. The hotel would give me, how many people? 1. So it'd give me 6 people and an income. And the movie theater would give me nothing. Maybe we'll do the hotel. Put it there. We'll make a lot of money off of it. Between those 2 lakes. Be like a little Minnesota hotel. There's something I'm going to mention when it comes back to our screen. Because you might have noticed that the bar went up and then everything went down and then it went up and then everything went down again. And I want to explain what happened with that. This guy's only got 23 people in his suburb. I don't understand it. Okay, so the way that you score things, anytime you see a symbol like this, like the little meeple outline, you're going to add those onto your score automatically. Now, if that causes you to cross a line, you go back on the line. You go back on your production. Then, for income, is when you move it according to your reputation. So then you would move it, I would move it up 1, and I would move this up. I would get 2 money. If you cross the line because of your reputation movement, you still take your income before you move it down. But if you cross the line because of meeple population movement, your income goes down, and that's what you'll end up taking is that new amount, if that makes sense. I can show it. I can show how it'll move twice. We'll get the resort. We'll get the resort, and we will put it here. So, remember, the resort's going to give me 7. Which is definitely going to put me over the line. So this will go down to 0. This will go down to 1. Which means this won't move again because it'll be at 0. And I'll only take 1. I won't take 2. You ready? So, bloop, bloop, bloop. Everything goes down. I take 2 money. And I don't move up any more people because I managed to bottom out my suburb's reputation. Yay. How are we doing? Are we still doing? Uh-oh. We need to get another gray building. I don't know when this happened. They're not contiguous. They're not contiguous. Okay. They could eventually be contiguous, though. So we need to get a gray building. So we have middle schools, the local EPA office, which gives you $2 for every yellow tile in the game, which would be 12. That's not bad. And then the university gives you +1 reputation for every school in the game amongst all the players, which is 2. That's not that great. I like that EPA office. I'm not gonna lie, I like the EPA. Let's go ahead and get the EPA and put him here. So we get a fair amount of money. All right, so there's our 1 more round. And since it happened at the end of my turn, black will get another turn, yellow will get another turn, and then it'll come to me, and all three of us will get one more turn after that. Ooh. They didn't get a gray, which is perfect. We're going to get one more gray just to cement our lead in the gray, because I don't want them to get a gray and be like, ha 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 ha. Again, their grays aren't contiguous and mine are, so I'm not really that concerned about it. Actually, I'm not going to be concerned about it at all. Let's see. Black has 83, I have 59, and yellow has 42. So I need the biggest influx of people that I can get. There's no way. This PR firm is the same as the casino, just for your reputation, though. So it doesn't go down. Condominium. Oh, condominium could be good. And it would still keep us at the least. Yeah, we'll get the condominium and we'll put it here. Because it'll still keep us the least of the green buildings. And it gives us a nice little boost up to 72, which is great. Black's going to end up at like 94. Yipers. We should still be able to beat them. Let's find out. Game over. So, every 5 money at the end, you get a population for. And then this goes through and oh, I did win. So, okay. So we see here the 3 goals. I won all 3 of those. I had 6 contiguous gray buildings. I only had 2 green buildings, and I only had 1 yellow building. This was my secret goal, most blue, which I had the most of. This was black secret goal, to have the fewest lakes, which did not win because it was a tie between these 2. And the fewest gray buildings, Ted had the fewest gray buildings. So that explains why he wasn't getting involved with this mess over here. So he won that 15 points, but I still had 140. And so I win that. Okay, so that's Suburbia, just straight up the game. Like I said, we didn't even see all the different buildings that you could have in a game, because only a certain number are used in each game. So there's a lot of replayability in Suburbia. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you specific to the app was the single player campaign, which I have started over recently because it's pretty fun. Okay, so we have over here, there's Essen over there. And then we have these cities in the United States. So let's go ahead and start in Columbus, where you can see the description: build a college town from the ground up. You start with an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school that all need to connect to the university. So let's take a look at the easy version. Now what this does is it'll give you a setup. So you see here we have our schools: high school, elementary school, middle school, which we need to connect to the university. And these are our goals down here. We need to connect the 3 schools to the university. We need to end the game with at least a reputation of 1 and at least a population of 65 with no limits on the income. Now you're going to be playing against yourself, but excuse me, obviously it's a single player campaign. You're not competing against anybody else in this, which is kind of fun. And each city has a different theme like that. So like Columbus's is that's the College City, Salt Lake City, connect the city edges by the lake to the mountains where the Olympic Park has been constructed, but be careful not to lose the small city charm of Salt Lake City. So there's the Salt Lake, there's the stadium for the Olympics, right? And your goals are population of 50 or lower, reputation at least 2, and connect all the tiles. It's pretty neat. What is this? Palo Alto, Santa Clara. It's you. You have to connect the residents of world famous game designer Ted Alspach with the prestigious Palo Alto Elementary School and the latest chip fabrication plant. So, Berg von Alspach is where he's living, clearly, and you want to connect it with both of those places. And it's just neat. The scenarios are cute. I think they ramp up very well in difficulty. And it's nice to have that variation on something that's so done on the game, the base game itself. That's it. That's Suburbia. Oh, what a sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I couldn't pause the recording soon enough. I'm sorry. I think that is a great note to end Suburbia on. Like I said, I'll be doing the castles of Mad King Ludwig as well, and you can compare and contrast those. See which one you think you'd like more, because like I said, everybody has a preference. But I definitely would recommend both the tabletop and the digital version of Suburbia. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.